All right, so anybody else that wants to hit mute, please go for it. Good evening and welcome everyone. Thanks so much for joining us. So go ahead, take your seat here at the red table. So the Red Table Talks are conversations between Elder Diane Longboat and people worldwide who are looking to participate in exchanges that lift the spirit. So I'm Cathy Mines, and I'm the Director of Wellness at Reach Yoga. And in partnership with Soul of the Mother, I sit at the table as the host of the call and call moderator for Diane. So it's in this partnership that the Reach Yoga community provides this space and a platform that's solely for the purpose of making Indigenous teachings available in the spirit of reconciliation. And these videos, we're going to record them so you'll be able to listen to them again and share. And if you would like to host a Red Table Talk in your community, you can contact me directly for that. So tonight, Diane Longboat. Diane's the founder of Soul of the Mother, which is a healing lodge that sits on the shores of the Grand River at Six Nations, Grand River Territory. So please open up your hearts and your minds as we are guests here at the Red Table. Diane, welcome.
Thank you so much, Cathy. And thank you to all the folks who are joining us here this evening. It's such an honor to be with you. I have some smudge burning here, and I want to virtually smudge all of you because you are my beloveds. And this is our time together that's so powerful and so sacred to share some messages. And I know that as much as I'm going to share a message, that there are so many of you who are also spiritual leaders in their own tradition and have many messages to share. We're hoping that this red table that you might find a seat here to speak to the bigger group as well. So in our tradition, before we begin any of our work, the Ongwahimwe people, the Haudenosaunee people, were gifted with a beautiful ceremony. And that ceremony is the Thanksgiving address. And it was given to us at a time when our people were indeed forgetting to be thankful for all of the paradise that the Creator made here for us. Everything that we have here on the earth comes from a vision of the Creator. And it is told that we come from the stars, that we are made of stardust. And so this day, before we start any of our messages and sharing, I wanted to offer a version of that Thanksgiving address. And it is the short version. It's more of an invocation that we're going to use this evening, because in our longhouse, our faith keepers stand to sing the Thanksgiving address in our languages, whether it's Mohawk or Cuba or Onondaga, Seneca, Oneida. They stand to sing that Thanksgiving address. And the importance of it is this, that it reminds us that we are part of creation. We are not dominating creation. That what is important about the Thanksgiving address is that all of the beings that are noted in that Thanksgiving address, when you love them, when you acknowledge them, when you pay respect and gratitude and love to them, that they stand with you in the challenges that we face as human beings, individually, collectively. And those spiritual beings are very powerful helpers of the Creator. So I want to offer those words of thanks first before we do anything else. And Jackie Ryan from Soul of the Mother is joining us this evening. She's going to be singing a song for us. Nyawa samwe dis kanalunkwa skana gahandagwa sinyats kanalunkwa agwego. Thank you, Creator, for giving us this day, that we can rise in the spirit of peace, that we are well and our families are well, that we have what we need to live a good life. Thank you for the challenges in our lives that help us and train us and teach us and guide us for the way forward. Now for all of the people who are upon the earth, those beautiful people who are of many different faith traditions, different cultures, languages, ways of giving thanks, because they make our life here so rich. Thank you, Samwedism, for our Mother the Earth, for the great mineral life that is underneath our feet, for the oldest form of life upon the earth, that is the plant life. And in our area, the lead of all the medicine plants is strawberry that will come up and flower and produce medicines in June. And all parts of that strawberry plant are useful for the human being's blood systems. We give thanks and honor to the standing maple trees that are the lead of all the tree people in our region, and to the deer, who is the lead of all of the animal life in our region. We're giving thanks this day for all of those animal life beings that make our life here so full and so rich. We are not lonely because they are here with us. We give thanks and honor to all of the living beings that are in the waters, and all of those living beings that are flying above us. And today there are robins and mourning doves here that are making nests, and we give thanks to them that they have returned to us one more time. We give thanks and honor to all of those life beings that are upon the earth that are relatives to us, not one more important than the other. And to the four winds that refresh Mother Earth, to the thunder beings that are joining us, that will bring beautiful rains to heal the land, the air, and the waters. We acknowledge those great waters that are upon the earth, the salt waters, the fresh waters, the rain waters, and the birth waters for the continuance of life. We give thanks and honor this day to the four sacred beings that the Creator put in place to watch over the human family. They have come to us from time to time with great teachings. They have been lowered here to correct us and to challenge us and to teach us and guide us on this journey of life. And they have come in many different forms as teachers. We acknowledge the star beings who represent the ancestors, the ones who have elevated to a place of high honor because they have fulfilled their spiritual mandate, and they shine down upon us as simple and weak human beings to show us that it is possible to understand the sacredness of who we are and how the Creator made us, and the identity that we carry, and the spiritual mandate that we must fulfill for the Creator. We give thanks to our grandmother, the moon, sky woman, first woman, who is so powerful and so beautiful and shines in her many phases to leave medicine upon the earth for all of us. We give thanks to our grandmother, the moon, because she controls not only the water systems on the earth, but she controls fertility and the coming of new life. She fulfills the Creator's mandate for the continuance of life. And to our grandfather, the sun, whose great walk across the sky from east to west each day teaches us to never fail in our duties for the Creator. That grandfather's sun has medicine we call sunlight that brings life to the world. And we acknowledge the work of that grandfather's sun. And we try to emulate him as best as possible to never fail in our work on behalf of the Creator. There is a great star formation called the Milky Way that is a bridge to the natural, from the natural world to the world of spirit, what we would call that place of peace. And across that bridge, each of us in our soul bodies will walk across that bridge one day. Our human bodies will be left here from Mother Earth, but our souls will travel across that star bridge to a place of peace. And on the other side of that bridge are the fires of our ancestors and our beloveds that are burning there. And it is a powerful and magnificent place where the ancestors continue to pray for us and strengthen us. And especially in these most challenging times facing us as humanity, the ancestors are ever present with us. We turn our thoughts to the Creator's council fire. Seated at that great council fire are the ones that help the Creator with the whole process of creation from the beginning of time. And they have become great healers and teachers for us. They have become individuals like the bear, the buffalo, the eagle, the turtle, who will visit us in dream time and bring us many messages. We also acknowledge the great leaders, healers, teachers that are seated at that council fire that we can call on for sacred guidance. And we always say that we save our purest and our finest thoughts for some way Diso, our creator. And so this evening, on behalf of all of us as my spiritual family, I place this wish on the altar of the creator. Some way Diso, you who have made everything. You are in control and you have infinite power. And in a moment's notice, you can change the course of Mother Earth. You can change the universe because you have created the universe. This day, some way, Diso, we give up our ego. We give up what we think is our personal power. And we stand on the altar of the Creator. And we say to you, some way, Diso, take over our lives. Guide us and teach us and show us the path that we must follow now. Give us the courage and the fearlessness to bring the changes, to heal Mother Earth, and to assist humanity in its spiritual evolution. And so with these words, we give thanks to Creator and Nyawa. On behalf of all of us, I say Nyawa to our Creator. And I turn it over to Jack to offer the song on my behalf. With the kids.
Did you know Henry likes BTS? I'm shocked. I'm in shock.
Good. Find your local.
Thank you.
Thanks so much, Jackie. That was a beautiful song and really, really appropriate for what we're going to talk about this evening, because I want to also focus on the ancestors, and that was such a beautiful ancestor song. So last week we talked about the code of life is written on the land. This week we want to talk about the power of the spirit, because I think we all need to be uplifted at this time. People are moving into a place of trauma and a place of fear. Behaviors are changing as people are quarantined more and more. And so I want to really boost your spirit, and I want to help you to understand that there's a power at work here greater than the COVID-19 virus, and share with you some stories. First of all, I want to tell you, all of you and all of your people, how much you are loved. You are prayed for daily. Starting the week of March the 16th in my own home community of Six Nations, the Longhouses began a series of medicine renewals. And those medicine renewals are prayers for the strength that we need to move through these challenging times, but they're renewals of the medicines that we carry as a people. On March 23rd, our chiefs and our clan mothers and faith keepers called for a community-wide prayer ceremony to be done in any way that people really feel comfortable, but to be able to pray together and to pray for everyone. And on March the 27th, tomorrow, there is a huge ceremony for one of our medicine societies that is going to be renewing its medicine to heal and protect the people. And so, you know, these pieces are going on in my own home community. And I want to share with you what's going on in some of the other First Nations. I had an opportunity to speak to some of the spiritual leaders from Elsipogtog, and particularly one woman who is real gifted in reburial of ancestors that come home from museums or from private collections or university labs. And what she has done in the past 10 days in her backyard in the community is to light a sacred fire. And in lighting that sacred fire, there have been people come to the fire to make prayers and to make offerings. And what people are noticing now is that the ancestors, very, very ancient looking ones, are manifesting physically at that fire. They are showing themselves to the people so that the people understand that spirituality is not just something that is a cultural piece for Indigenous people. It's so much more than that. It is, those ancestors are here to show us that our prayers are being heard, our prayers are being answered, and that they're walking with us through this challenging time. In Grand Council Treaty 3 area, there are a number of ceremonies that have been happening. And one of the messages that came from their ceremony is to hang 5-inch red and black ribbons at your doorways, front and back, for protection. And it's not just about the actual ribbon itself, but it's the prayers that go into that ribbon that ask for that COVID virus to bypass your home and your family and your community. And so the people of that particular community have hung those ribbons front and back doors. There's also been other ceremonies where we've been instructed through a shake tent ceremony that was held on Manitoulin Island a couple of weeks ago to hang yellow tobacco ties made through prayer again, and hang them at the front and the back door with prayers that that COVID virus and the illness coming with it bypass our homes. So these are important pieces as spiritual people. You will understand why it's important. When you ask for something, you also give something. So that's why as Ongwehongwe people, we always in our ceremonies give back, whether it's food offerings, cloth offerings, whether it's tobacco offerings, medicine offerings. So something must be given back, and the ribbons and the tobacco flags represent that. I want to uplift you today with a dream that I had many years ago. And it is a dream of the power of the Creator. So for those of you who know me, you know I really love space. So in my dream, I was floating in space. And it was such a beautiful feeling to be there, and it was comforting. And I saw around every planet and every star and every comet a beautiful pulsating white light that showed its heartbeat, and it was a heartbeat in conjunction with the heartbeat that we see on Mother Earth. And I was so amazed at how powerful space was, and all the planets and the stars and the galaxies and the magnificence and the beauty of it. And as I was admiring all of that, I thought, I have to find Mother Earth. I have to look for Mother Earth. And as I looked to the left, I saw Mother Earth. And around Mother Earth was something a little bit different than that pulsating white light. There was a red net and a blue net. And I understood from the Spirit that the red net was war and sickness and plagues, that it was hatred and racism. And the blue net that was around Mother Earth was pulsating, was love, compassion, ceremonies, prayers, caring for one another, supporting the life that is on Mother Earth and living within the natural laws of Mother Earth. And those two competing nets would go back and forth, and sometimes the red net would almost cover the earth, and here comes the blue net that would then, get really strong, and you knew people were praying, and you knew people had faith, and you knew people were pulling together to support one another. And so the red net and the blue net were moving back and forth. And all of a sudden I heard a squeak in the universe, and it was like a eek. And I looked around and everything stopped. The white light was not pulsating around the planets and the comets and the stars anymore. It was holding in place. And then I heard another eek. And when I heard that second one, I looked at Mother Earth, and there was no longer a red net or a blue net. And I looked around at the universe and all the stars and the planets, and the pulsating white light was moving again. And that was a powerful dream for me, because it told me that the Creator is in control, that there isn't anything that the Creator can't do, that the Creator has infinite power. So I wanted to share that dream with you, because this is the time when we need to reach for that infinite power. And in doing so, you do it through your ceremonies, through your prayers every day. And it's the Lakota people who teach us that the altar of the Creator underneath the sun is two circles that interlock. And the crescent where they interlock is a place of infinite power. And so in my pipe ceremonies, in my tobacco burning times, I go to that circle on the left, and it's a natural progression for me to go to that circle on the left and to stand there and present myself to the Creator and ask the Creator for the healing, the teaching, the guidance, and the renewal that I need before I do any work to help anybody else or to share with anybody else. And I did so this evening in my pipe ceremony before we came on together. And then that circle on the right-hand side is where I bring all of you in my ceremonies, and I place you there as my beloveds, the ones that I pray for equally as I prayed for myself and for my family. And when my prayers are finished for all of us, I take us into that beautiful crescent and I present us all to the Creator. And I ask the Creator in His infinite power to reach inside our spirits and our hearts and our minds and our bodies for the help that we need and for answering the prayers that we are presenting on that altar. And so, you know, these are, excuse me, powerful times. They're powerful times to be fearless. They're powerful times to embrace the change that's upon us. Prophecies foretold that the smallest microbes would bring humanity to its knees. And so we are lucky to be able to be living in the time when we witness this now. Because along with the hardships that we are witnessing, we are also embracing change globally in a way that we could never have imagined before. And so embracing change means it's an opportunity. We don't want to go back to how things were in those old systems that did not serve us, that created a class system, that created an economy that no longer serves anyone in the world. So let's take this as an opportunity to rebuild. And for all of those non-Indigenous people who are listening here tonight, I really want to challenge you in this time of reconciliation to consider the lands that you are walking on here. These homelands of Ongwehongwe First Nations peoples were gifted to us by the Creator, along with sacred duties and responsibilities to care for these homelands, to understand the beauty and the magnificence of what the Creator has made here, and to live within those natural laws. This is an important time for all of our relatives who are sharing this land with us, because as much as we have those duties and responsibilities, when you come here on Turtle Island to live with us, you have also those same duties and responsibilities. And so our people step forward. By proxy, we are the ones with the duty and responsibility to help you to understand your place here in creation. And to understand how important it is for you to grow spiritually while you are with us here on Turtle Island, and to also return to your homelands, to walk on the faces of your ancestors that have been in those beautiful homelands for so long that their bones are ground into the dust of the land. Something happens to you when you walk back in the homelands of your people. There's a deep DNA shift that happens that restores you spiritually. And while you are here with us on Turtle Island, we as Ongwehongwe people have a duty and responsibility to help you to understand your connection to your ancestors, your connection to your ancestral homelands, to understand spiritual discipline that you can apply on a daily basis, and encourage you to find your faith traditions wherever those appeal to you. Our duty and responsibility is to help you, but there are specific leaders who have been chosen to be able to help you. There are leaders within our own home communities of First Nations who have duties and responsibilities strictly to help our own people, to raise up our own people for a resurgence of our culture, our ceremonies, our languages, our faith traditions, and our connection to our own homelands. Those are our valued individuals. In our tradition of Haudenosaunee, we would call them our chiefs, our clan mothers, and our faith keepers. They have responsibility for us as the people. Other spiritual leaders have been given visions and teaching and guidance to go beyond our communities and to help all who are outside of our communities, and that includes you. You are part of my vision. You are part of the spiritual mandate that the Creator gave me in 1994 when the buffalo visited me and gave me the vision for the work that I do. The sacred fire has been burning at Six Nations since 1994. And from 2003 to 2011, That sacred fire burned day and night for 7 years. Many of you came and supported that fire. Many of you sent donations. Many of you came to be fire keepers. Many of you came to support it in many different ways. And I'm so grateful to you for that opportunity, because what I believe is that it connected us as community, no matter where we are. And in my prayers, I always uphold you as individuals who I've shared tobacco with. And I consider all those people who I've shared tobacco with to be my family. So I want to tell you that today, and to help you to understand that in these challenging times, you're not alone. You are being prayed for every single day. There are ceremonies here at 8 in the morning and at 8 in the evening, and the fires are burning, the pipes are being offered, and the tobacco is being offered. I want to share with you a dream from the Thunderbirds that came to me a few years ago. And it's a dream, I think, that involves all of us. I was on the shores of a lake, and, you know, I have a very special feeling for Lake Superior and great big rocks on the shoreline. And I remember holding in my hands 2 rattles, 2 cow horn rattles, and I was going to get ready to do a social dance. And so some of our social dances are done in single file, and people were lining up, and they were really excited and really happy. And we were lining up along that shoreline. And in the distance, as I looked out over the water, I could see something coming in the distance. And I was so excited because I thought it was an eagle. So I got really excited, and I called the people's attention to it. And as it got closer and closer, I realized that it was much, much bigger than an eagle. And it was a thunderbird, a black thunderbird with a 30-foot wingspan. That thunderbird landed on the rock beside the water. And the thunderbird said very clearly, if you want to heal Mother Earth, you have to stand shoulder to shoulder. That means all of us, all together, one consciousness, one heart, one mind, for the healing of Mother Earth. In whatever faith tradition that you come from, whatever culture that you come from, whatever part of the world that you come from. Because what we are being shown now is that the challenges that we are going through is something that we've created. And remember what Chief Seattle said those many years ago: whatever you do to the earth, you do to yourselves. So this is our time now to think about, how do we rebuild once this challenge is over? And, you know, I want to really encourage you, my relatives, to understand that this challenge will move on, that we will thrive again, that the Creator is watching us to see if we understand who we are, how we need to live, how we need to put the Creator first in our lives, how we need to pray, and how do we practice our ceremonies. What is it about this way of life that we need to activate spiritually, not just economically or health-wise or educationally? We need to activate ourselves spiritually. And so in my prayers every day, I think about that, about how to stand fearlessly, how to stand by the sacred fire, how to stand by the ceremonies and all of the teachings that we've received about the good mind and about peace and power of the Creator and the right way to live. So I'm going to stop the message there, and thank you for listening so respectfully, and open it up now to Cathy to continue. And we wanted to also share this evening because you have lots to share as well. And I'm hoping that some of you who are on this evening as spiritual leaders will come to the red table, and we can chit chat together. So I turn it over to Cathy now. Yawa.
Thank you so much for your wisdom and your stories and sharing your dreams. Is there anybody, I'd like to pass it on to all of you here. I saw at one point we had 100 participants. So anybody that wants to share, please type type into the type box that you're here or raise your hand so I can find you. We can try, go ahead. You can unmute yourself. And if we get two at a time, maybe someone can come back. Okay, Jody. Jody, unmute yourself.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, welcome.
Thank you so much for hosting this. And Diane Miigwech, thank you so much for sharing. I just wanted to share that I've been introduced through Diane actually to doing some work with Elder Willie Pine in the Robinson Huron Treaty Territory. And he is so moved by the fact that these types of gatherings are happening and that folks from the settler side of the treaty arrangements are willing to step up and be spiritually open and speak what needs to be spoken right now. So really grateful for everyone. I just wanted to throw out that I will be traveling to the territory over the next week once I get through my full month quarantine to do some drops. So if anybody would like to reach out to me, how we can extend, there's a car going, so I'd be happy to just pick up from there. If people want to reach out through the chat, that would be great. Thanks so much.
Beautiful, Jody. Thank you. Thank you very much. Anybody else? So it's a really good time, and we won't stay on much longer. But for those of you that would like to share how you've been feeling, maybe anybody that joined the call that we did last week, it was recommended by Diane that we do some journaling. We pay attention to our dreams, different things. Sunny, I'm gonna. You unmute you, please, Sunny. Thank you. Are you there?
Am I here?
You're here.
I just want to say, Diane, thank you so much for those words and that strong prayer. And thanks to everybody who came to the call. I love seeing everybody's face. Faces I haven't seen in a really long time. So it's good to see you all. Noah.
Thank you, Sunny. Great to see you too. Thank you. Anybody from last week that did some journaling? Anybody have a dream to share? Okay, Willow, go ahead, unmute yourself.
Hi.
Hi. Hi.
Thank you so much, all of you, for putting this together, and Diane for your beautiful words with us, and so heartfelt. And I've really appreciated this opportunity to connect in this way and to be reminded of the importance of our connection to spirit and to the land. And I had a dream, actually. I did a very powerful meditation down by the water amidst some beautiful trees. And then it felt like that night I had a very kind of interrupted sleep with a lot of unusual energy. And it's as if the trees were with me the whole night. It was a very interesting experience. I don't know if you've had anything like that, but I had such an intense connection with them that morning that I could almost sense their individual personalities. And I just wondered what you thought of that, or if that's something that you've experienced in yourself in the past.
Thank you so much for that, because I always have a special relationship with trees. My mother had it as well. We have a tree ceremony that was given to us by the Spirit to make medicine for the trees. So we typically will make cedar medicine as a tea and then cool it down, and take our tobacco out to a tree that the tree calls us. We don't call the tree. And make a circle of tobacco around that tree and bring your medicine, circle yourself in, and make your prayers and make your offerings inside that circle. And you can make whatever offering that is good for you in your culture or your way of doing things. The tree will allow you to ask a question. And, do those trees have spirit? Absolutely. They have an ability to have a language of spirit with you that will answer your questions and will help you and guide you. And I'm so glad to hear you say that each of them has a different personality. And because it's so true that each of them has a different medicine, each of them has a different message for us, a different way of being. And one of our faith keepers from Six Nations said, we need to be like the trees. If you lift up, the first 8 inches of that topsoil like a blanket, and you look underneath that blanket, all of the trees, our roots are holding hands underneath that blanket. And they are feeding each other, they're communicating with each other. And, one of our Seneca relatives was telling us just recently that when she was being trained by her grandmother to carry medicine, that her grandmother would teach her how to make specific kinds of medicine for specific ailments. And then she would say to her, take this bag of medicine and hang it in the tree. When you hang it in the tree, you have to leave it there for 2-3 days. And of course, make sure there's no rain, but hang it there for 2 or 3 days. And it's the medicine of the tree's breath that goes into the medicine inside that bag that you've hung by the tree. And together they work together to make things really strong in the medicine that's going to be designated for cancer, arthritis, any kind of ailments that human beings have. So the trees are powerful, powerful healers. And individually, they're powerful. When they partner up to work together, they're powerful. But when all of those trees work together, their medicines work together, it's said to us that medicine can heal anything. So thank you so much for that question, because I also have that affinity for trees.
Thank you, Willow. So we have a dream from Sheila and something to share from Vicky. So Sheila, go ahead and unmute yourself and join in.
Hello, everyone. I am so grateful to be here. Thank you. I was also on the call last week and was inspired to do a little journaling. So I really appreciate that. Yesterday morning, I woke up with 2 messages from the dream time that were very clear. And they didn't have any story that went with them, just the message. And the first message was, dark magic has been unleashed. The second message was, it's time to activate your love circuitry. And I noticed you, Diane, you used the word activate just a few moments ago. I wonder if you could say anything about that.
Inside each of us, the Creator placed a soul, which is eternal. The working part of that soul is your spirit. Your spirit leaves when you dream. Sometimes your spirit leaves when there's a powerful healing. The spirit can leave for a whole range of reasons. But one of the things that we have become numb to in this society is the presence of the connection to spirit. Spirit within and spirit on the outside. So we've been taught to fear it. We've been taught to say it's paranormal. We've been taught to say that it's evil. And so, the indigenous knowledge systems that exist, not only here in Turtle Island, but throughout the world, all have a shamanic part of their expression. And so, when we talk about activating love circuitry, what it means is this, that when we say in our language, it means I love you. But that's kind of a loose term for love. It really means that we fall in love with each other. And in doing so, we fall in love with all of creation. That Gana is infinite. Lumqua is love. Who has infinite love? The Creator. It's the infinite love of the Creator that binds us together as human beings when we fall in love with one another. But that love has to radiate out from that relationship to creation, to all parts of creation. And so when I hear your message, it is so powerful to activate love circuitry. And remember, I told you the dream, excuse me, the dream that I had of the red net and the blue net. You know, the blue net is love. The blue net represents love. The blue is the color of the eagle, and the eagle, sometimes you'll see the eagle manifest physically, sometimes you'll just see the blue light of the eagle. But that is the most powerful medicine in the universe that can unite us. And I think back to a woman who came to a dream council that we had in Ohio a few years back. And at that dream council, we were meeting as women to share dreams, of course, and to share teaching and experiences. And women came from many different cultures. And as we gathered together there, one woman understood that teaching, that to be really whole as a human being, you need to discover who you are, your spiritual mandate, acknowledge your ancestors, but also walk in the homelands of your ancestors. She was a CEO, and she left her job and she backpacked all around the circumference of Ireland because she traced her ancestry to Ireland, and she backpacked around Ireland, the entire island. And the things that happened to her there were nothing short of what we would call miraculous, because it changed her forever. And when she came home, you know, she had some incredible stories to tell. But it's about activating your spirit. If you want to understand how to activate the love circuitry, you have to activate your spirit in relationship first and foremost to the Creator. And I'm hoping next week on our call we can share some ceremonies that you can do individually at home that will strengthen you and help you in this journey. Activating that love circuitry is what is going to heal us as a human family. And you know, today on the news, when the leaders of the G20 countries talked about getting together because this is a global issue of a pandemic, we need to get together as spiritual people and say, this is a global spiritual effort to unite spiritually, not to change who we are or our practices or our cultures or languages or faith traditions, but to stand together shoulder to shoulder as spiritual people to activate that love circuitry to help one another at this time. Has that dark magic been unleashed upon the earth? We have unleashed that dark magic on the earth through pollution, through racism, through hatred, through continuous wars, through creating systems, economic systems that impoverish people and always ensure that people are in fear of shortages, people are in fear of losing their jobs, because the economic situation and the system that's been evolved over time has created a huge holding of resources by 1% and great poverty for 99%. So these systems have to change, and I say that we are being humbled as a human family. Now we are being humbled as a human family with this virus. And make no mistake about it, if we don't learn our lessons to unite with one heart, one mind, one consciousness for the healing of Mother Earth and the spiritual evolution of humanity, there will be subsequent viruses that will be unleashed, that will be more devastating with each full round. So we have a lot of work to do as spiritual people to be able to unleash love, to join together, to defeat racism, to embrace diversity, to see diversity as something that is so beautiful and so strengthening for all of us that it makes us stronger as a human family. And so human diversity is natural, because when you go into the bush or into the forest, all the diversity that is there. I don't think the trees are racist against one another. I don't think those shrubs and those medicine plants that are out there are racist against one another and have these ego problems that say, I'm better than you. So those elements of the natural world have so much to teach us, and so my friend Willow, who has a relationship now with trees, is teaching how to fall in love with creation. And I remember when I first moved home in 1994 from the city to follow the vision that I was given by the buffalo. One of the clan mothers came to me and she said, Diane, to be really happy in this lifetime, you have to fall in love with creation. And so that's the gift of Indigenous peoples, is to share with you how to fall in love with creation. Because if you do not love creation, you will never defend it.
Thank you, Sheila. Great share and question, and thank you, Diane. So we have 3 more. So Vicky, is it May from the Sacred Fire, and then Renee. So maybe we're going to have 3 more questions, and then we can catch up with any more questions, save them for next week. But go ahead, Vicky, unmute yourself. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
This is Klaus.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
okay.
Can you hear me?
We can, Klaus.
I want to say hello to Diane. My name is Klaus Pasche. I live with John at Climby. Diane, you may remember us. We now live both in Ithaca, New York. And on the picture, I recognize some faces like Vivi and Cindy. I'm doing shamanic work for many, many years, and when the virus started, I was curious to find out with a question to the virus, tell me, what is the purpose why you are here? And I was surprised and pleased to hear the answer. The answer was, you see, I'm coming from the Creator, and I want to let mankind around the world know that you don't follow the law of nature anymore. For many, 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 many years. And we have been trying this before. You remember there were other viruses like Sears and Elbow and other diseases. But unfortunately, by the time mankind had always a medicine to prevent the pandemic situation. And I was saying, you remember viruses can mutate very quickly. And at this time, we were able to mutate the virus in the way there was no medicine. So we are here on Earth to make people aware that they need to follow the law of nature. And that means honoring all of God's creation. We humans are the caretaker of all the creations and not here to abuse the creations for our own purposes. And you need to be aware of this. And the only way you can remember this is by in a pandemic that comes worldwide. And we are hoping that you will understand the message. So the virus said, I'm not here as an enemy. I'm here as your reminder. You need to go back and you need to reconnect with the land again. You need to harvest from the land. You need to honor the land. You need to honor all creations. You pray for the creations. Remember, you are the caretaker of all of creation and not the abuser of the water, the air, the land, everything that is there for your convenience to accumulate wealth and prosperity, etc. So I was excited to hear these messages. They were very clear and very precise. So I just want to share this with you.
Thank you so much, Klaus. That was really beautiful. Well said, and messages that apply to all of us. Because when a friend of mine who is Lakota was telling a story about coyote, and I'll tell you just a real brief version of it. When the Creator made the earth, of course, in the order of creation, the stardust for the mineral life that is Mother Earth now, but the the first order of life upon Mother Earth was plant life, and the second order of life was animal life. We are the babies. We're the last created to be here. So when the Creator had made the animal life and the various ones who were then procreating, and they were spreading throughout the earth, and the Creator made Coyote the caretaker of them. And he said to the Coyote, "You're going to be the messenger. I'm going to come and visit you from time to time, and you'll tell me how these beings are doing." And so from time to time, the Creator would come and he would meet Coyote, and they'd walk along the shores of a great ocean. And the Creator would say to Coyote, "How are you? And how are my creations doing here? Report to me how the beaver are doing, and how the moose and the deer are doing. What about those butterflies, and how are they managing?" And so they would have long conversations as they walked together. And the Coyote was always happy to report that life was continuing, and it was flourishing and thriving. And so one day, the Creator came back, and Coyote said, "You know, after I finish my report today," he said, I want to say to you that I have a message for you from all of those beings that you've created." So they had their talk, and at the end of that talk, the Coyote said to the Creator, "When you come and visit us, there's a feeling that you leave here that is so profound and so deep and so loving that we never want that feeling to end. And so we know that you're not going to be here with us on the earth all the time, but how is it that you would think about this Creator and help us to have that continuous feeling?" And so the Creator went away and thought about it, and as all things are born out of the vision of the Creator. And so the next time that the Creator came back, he had an answer for Coyote. And he said to Coyote, "I'm going to create some beings that take a physical form, and they will carry the same feeling that I carry. And I will give those beings the duty and the responsibility to look after you." And when I first heard that story, I burst out crying, because I knew as human beings we had failed. We had failed the Creator in taking care of his creation. So this is a time for a rising consciousness. And I said last week, and I'll say it many, many times, that I believe in the young people and the power and the energy that they carry to bring change in the world. And those young people need you as their elders to guide them. They need you to inspire them and to help them along this journey, to teach them, to doctor them, to offer sacred guidance, so that they can be the change makers that the world is waiting for. So thank you for that opportunity to answer the question.
Thank you. So please go ahead, Vicki, unmute yourself.
Thank you. Briefly, last night I had a dream that I actually remembered when I woke up this morning. I have not been remembering my dreams for over a year. I used to be able to. I know a lot goes on, but I haven't been able to access them. This morning I woke up and the dream was extremely clear. Hence, I moved to share it. It was that clear. And what it was is I was back in my homestead, the place where I grew up, and there were some people around. We were outside, and friends, very close souls that I'm close with, and we were all dressed in white. And I went up the stairs to go up to get something. And as I was going up the stairs, I saw two beings heading towards us, a male and a female, fairly young. And as I'm going up the stairs, I said to my friends below, watch those two. There's something happening here. And I'm not sure what happened. I guess I went upstairs and whatever. And I turned around and I could see my friends being negative and nasty and crying and not being nice to each other. And the two beings were just sitting there. And I knew what had happened in the dream. And I turned to the two beings and I started speaking words of what we'd call higher vibration, I guess. I said just simply one word, simple words like love, peace, joy, compassion, gratitude. And they slowly started to melt and show the ugliness underneath. And they were black and tar, and they were melting, and my friends started to rise. And the dream ended with this vision of this evil being melted, just being in the presence of these words of love, compassion, joy, gratitude.
Yeah. That's a beautiful, powerful dream. And thank you so much for sharing that with us. You know, in the spiritual training we receive as humbly people, you know, it is to confront that evil in dreams, whether it's in an unconscious state, you know, so it's high level training. What you've done in that dream is to confront that evil with the medicine that the Creator gave you, the tools that the Creator gave you. And those are powerful, powerful words that have so much deep meaning to them. And you know, sometimes English is a difficult language because it's a noun-based language, and for most of our Indigenous languages, they're verb-based. So how you describe those words, they still have the power to turn negative into positive. And you know, that's what I say about spiritual training and spiritual traditions of all kinds, is that it changes your mind. And in our way, we would say you have a good mind, a mind that is in a place of peace, a mind that is connected to the Creator with faith, a mind that is unshakable in that faith, that you see the positive in all things. And that's not to be like a Pollyanna type person, but it's to be to understand that everybody has a story and everybody has come through trauma, and that we need to be kind to each other and to be compassionate with one another. So, you know, that's a really beautiful dream, because in order to defeat that negative that was unleashed, you know, we're going to have to pull together to understand in our respective traditions, how do you live joy? How do you live in the spirit of unconditional love? How do you live with compassion for all things and all beings, and gratitude for all the things in life that we're being given? I remember in my early spiritual training asking, you know, the spirit who was my teacher, and saying to her, you know, this work is really hard. And I think about that juvenile comment now, you know, this work is really hard. And you know, there's times I think, you know, maybe I can't do it, or maybe I'm just going to give up. And she would say to me, you know, the Creator placed a spiritual mandate inside of you. You've lived here on this earth many times before. This is your opportunity to fulfill that spiritual mandate. And so, you know, that's my goal in life, is to fulfill my spiritual mandate. No human being is going to stand in front of me to prevent me from doing that. No one. And so in this particular time and in this life, we're being given all the tools that we need to be able to make it through this hard time. We have, number one, we have our relationship with the Creator. We have our relationship with each other. This technology enables us to see each other and to be in relationship with each other. This is our opportunity to gather in spirit, to be able to share the very best of our dreams, our teachings, our sacred guidance, to strengthen one another and to create a community where things are going to shift now. There is no way that those old systems are going to be able to function in the way that they did. You know, I was reading a report the other day that said 49% of the people in the US, in your US economy, live paycheck to paycheck. How is it that 60% of your budget is spent on the military, not on health, not on social services, not on education, not on infrastructure that is crumbling, but on the military? Something must change. And it is the will of the people that's going to do it. It's not governments that will change. It's not systems that will change. It's the will of the people to bring that change forward that will initiate a rebuilding of society.
Thank you. So two more. So go ahead. Is it May from Sacred Fire Toronto? Please unmute yourself.
Hi, it's Mai.
Mai, thanks.
Hello, Diane. So nice to see you.
Good to see you.
I actually have an invitation, and I'm really stepping out here by offering a virtual fire, Sacred Fire. I'm an initiated firekeeper with the Sacred Fire community. And on April the 3rd, I'm inviting you all to a Sacred Fire. I'll consecrate the fire, and if you all would light a candle, it'll be an opportunity for us to share very similar to what we're doing tonight. And we'll be connected and be transformed through the gift of fire. If it's okay with you, Cathy, maybe I can send you the link and you can send it to everyone else.
Sure, and thank you. Can you add it to the chat box right now? Is that something
Sure.
you can do?
Yeah, I'll add my email address. Yeah.
Thank you for that invitation. Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay.
Thank you, Mai. Thank you.
One last. We've saved the youngsters for the last. Step up to the table, Renee.
Hi, everyone.
And Mike. Hi.
Hello, Kitty. Diane.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Hello, Diane. Thank you so much for your beautiful message, as always. I feel like you're speaking directly to my soul every time. So I just thank you so much. And for Cathy to provide this beautiful space and everyone to show up. Thank you. I just wanted to thank you personally, Diane. I took your advice to journal. I spoke with my grandmother for a few hours on the phone the other day, and I've heard these stories from her my whole life. But something this time what told me, like, I just decided to write them down, these stories that I've been wishing she would write down, and then through that I was able to connect with my ancestors. So thank you. It was yeah. And then yeah, things have been happening for us. We're being called. Creator is calling. So I just I don't know if we can give more details maybe another time, but thank you so much for opening the doors and for your prayers. The guidance is it's unbelievable. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Diane.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm always proud of you, young people. You have to keep going. We need you. Thanks.
Thank you.
Wow. Okay. Any last words, Diane, while we close our circle here?
Well, I really love the invitation from Mai, and I've been to their Sacred Fire community in Toronto. Really enjoyed myself, and had an opportunity to teach there with Wambadi, who's a Lakota, Dakota medicine leader, Sundance chief from Manitoba. So, final words. One of the things that you need to remember in this challenging time is that sacred fires are being lit all over Turtle Island. And those sacred fires are taking offerings of tobacco, sage, sweetgrass, cloth offerings, food offerings. And those sacred fires need to be lit as well in your home. And so Mai really reminded me that one of the most important pieces that we can do to connect to the spirit is to make our own sacred fire in our own home. And the way that we do it is simply to get a platter and put a candle, hopefully it's a beeswax candle, in the center. And to light that fire with prayers that come from your own tradition. And to keep that candle burning in the daytime as you're moving around in your home. And make sure that you put it out at night with prayers as well. So start it with prayers in the morning, let it burn for the day, put it out at night with prayers of thanksgiving and gratitude. Maybe you'll come to that fire many times during the day when you feel weak, confused, afraid, where you feel like the numbers of people falling ill to the virus are now in the millions. You need to go to the fire. The fire connects you to the Creator, and to make your prayers at that fire. And make sure that you pray for all of creation, not just human beings, but for all of creation, because that is our sacred connection, and that's where they're also in alliance with us to help us through this time. So remember that you're not alone, that prayers are being offered for you at 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. every day. There are pipe ceremonies that are offered. There are sacred fires burning. There's all kinds of ceremonies in the Indigenous nations that might be close to you. So we're in this together, and as spiritual people, this is going to make us stronger. We're going to come out the other end stronger, more united, more loving, more caring, more compassionate, and more respectful of one another. So I wish you all the very best, and thank you so much for this opportunity to share time with you. Miigwech, Nyawa.
Thank you so much, Diane. There is one last question. Is that possible, or?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Sure. Suzanne, go ahead. Unmute yourself. Oh.
Okay, there we go. I actually didn't have a question. I pushed that by mistake, but I have this opportunity to say biggest thank you. I will quickly add, I woke up with a start at 4 in the morning on Saturday, and I actually don't remember my dreams either, but my message was the Amazon fires were telling us something's coming to do with air and breathing. So I felt like the earth was speaking to me in my sleep.
Wow, thank you. Thank you. I'm glad you popped on, Suzanne. Diane, our tobacco offering to you will go exactly where it needs to go. I've been holding it here through the call. I love you, and I thank you, and thank you for all of us being guests at your table. Thank you. Good night, everybody.
Love you. Love you.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
Diane. Thank you, Diane. Thank you.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night.
Thank you.
Ashe.
Love you.
Thank
you. Ashe from Mabinti, Diane.
Miigwech. Thank you, Diane. Hi, Mabinti. I see you.
Hi. Ashe.
Many thanks, Diane. Nyawe.
Yo.
Thank you, Diane.
Blessings on everyone.
Love you.
Love you.
Wedge. Good night.
Thank you, Drew.
All love, beautiful people.
Thank you, Diane. Thank you, Vivi. Thank you, everyone.
Love you.
Good. Good night, everybody. Thank you.